Oh, good evening, good afternoon, and it's Friday. Welcome, y'all. We do it. We have made it. We've made it. It is another Resource Friday. We have seen a moon and another moon and another moon, and we have arrived to the sun. Oh my goodness. But let me get professional, even though we try to be professional. It's Friday and we try to get lit. We are here and welcome to the Grind Bag Podcast. Resource Friday is a segment attached to the Grind Bag Podcast, but I'm your host, Aiysha. But are you still looking, if you're still house hunting, I'm hopeful and prayerful that you'll plant roots with us because we are on a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers. If you're watching this video and we've already reached 1,000 subscribers, then we have a goal to reach 2,000 because this is not about just the numbers. It's really about making sure that everyone knows that there are resources, free resources out here that are here to support, but also here to provide an option, an opportunity for you all to be supported, especially in moments like this. And especially when we're also trying to navigate as human beings through the terrains of the mess. Okay. And also through the terrains of trying to really have a good quality of life despite the status quo, despite what the news is saying, despite what we already know that's happening, and despite what's happening in our personal lives, because it's very difficult and it can be very hard as we're trying to really focus on what that means and what that looks like. So, like I said, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and share, and share. So that way the YouTube multiverse knows that you find value here. And don't forget to listen to us on Spotify and all other podcast streaming platforms because we're also on there too. And I am going to be publishing some new podcast episodes for the Grounded Bag podcast audibly so that way you can listen to me on the go. And please go ahead and subscribe again to the Grounded Bag podcast on Substack as well as the Rooted Productions because that's where I publish all of my other Grounded Bag podcast um, blog post as well as podcast features too, because this is more than just the podcast only. This is also about information that I want you to have and you need to know just to make sure that you are able to arm yourself with what you need versus feeling defenseless. Alrighty. So before we continue, let's take 1 minute to reset and rewind, and we'll come back with our resource of the day. See you in a minute.
So let's begin in a comfortable seated position. Allow your sitting bones to press down into the earth. Roll your shoulders up, back, and drop them down. And slightly lengthen your spine. Gently close the eyes. Imagine there's a beautiful, vibrant, shimmering white light all around your body. And as you inhale, you take this light into your body. And exhale, let it go. Inhale the love. And exhale everything else. Inhale calm. And exhale anything you're holding on to that it's time to let go. Beautiful. Enjoy your day.
Alrighty, so how was that reset? How was that unwind? And that is what we do at every Resource Friday because the goal is really for you to really get centered and recentered and really just make sure that you're able to just try to find that balance and try to find that navigation. So today we're going to be talking about support systems. And keep in mind, there's going to be more Resource Fridays to come. So this is our, professional resource room where we got a fridge, we got some stuff up in there, we got an espresso machine, we also got some fruit, we also got some little pretzels or little appetizers. not appetizers, but like little dried snacks. But also if you have like a ramen noodle and you got to use a microwave, we got that right there. We got some seats to pull up and gather, my people, gather and come hither because we have some more things to discuss. So today we're going to be talking about support systems that heal, but also creating an opportunity for you to have mental health support and a community and a compassion of care because healing is not linear. It's not a process that happens overnight. It's something that happens ongoingly because as we grow and as we evolve, we change. And then we also, so does our thought perspectives, so does our thought processes of what we think life should be. But also, so does our inner circles change too. Because we know what we want, we know what we don't want, but we also see deep of what we desire out of life. And oftentimes that can be the hardest part. We're trying to see how we can find our way along that path that we call life, but also along that path that we are trying to find, which is purpose. So I would say healing is not meant to happen alone, realistically. So this episode centers around support systems, resources, and community care. So another thing that I wanted to really point out is why asking for help is a form of strength. Because as an Afro Caribbean woman in different Caribbean cultures and African cultures and African American cultures, really, therapy was not seen as a safe haven. It was seen as us being lab rats. And the medical relationship with African Americans, Afro Caribbeans of the diaspora, as well as Africans, was always seen as a let me experiment. Let me see how far I can go. So that way I will know how to treat other individuals who are not of the African, Caribbean, or African American diaspora. So, and that is a real thing. And there has been so many studies done, so many unethical researches done on endangered slaves, as well as still being done on women of color and Black women specifically, and the lack thereof of being attentive to that form of bedside care that should happen. More episodes to come because that in itself is a whole case study, a whole TED talk. But why help is not is was asking for help was not seen as a form of strength is because there was always that connection of if I ask, then what? What are you going to give me? And what do I have to give you? But also it was the condition of, we don't complain. We just do what we have to do, thrive. And there was a saying that a motto is that we don't always do what we want to do, but we always do what we have to do. And the saddest thing is that creates resilience, but it also creates complacency where others around you may not have to do as much as you were doing. But that's why asking for help is so vital, but also reminding other individuals that if you ask for help, you really need it. So they need to be ready. But also being humble and asking is also another level. And the saddest thing is that can also be taken advantage of by individuals who have warped, demented, evil, devilish minds that do not see that as an opportunity for them to step up, but they see that as an opportunity to take advantage. So that's why wisdom is needed when you're always asking for help and seeing that as a strength because there's some help that you take and there's some help that you do not take. That's just that's full transparency right there. That's gospel. But as well as the mental health resources like therapy, school support, if there are any crisis lines like 988 in the United States, which is a statewide 24/7, 365 service, is crucial to really tap into because that is important that we dismantle the perceptions of mental health resources. And anytime you hear mental health, you're like, oh my God, so you think I'm crazy now? That's that's the human tendency to make that assumption. But that is the action word signaling that you don't have it together. Sis, bro, you don't have it together. And it's okay. I don't have it together either. But let's get some help to support us. Because it's almost like you have a flat tire. You don't have a spare. You call AAA, you call your roadside assistance. You're asking for help because you need it. So what if we can ask for help during your crucible and also before your crucible, and tapping into resources that are there to support you, but also helps you to navigate when difficult moments happen and you're trying to really figure out, okay, how do I put my foot on the ground? How do I get myself situated when I feel as if I'm in a strange loop and there's nothing that's going to take me out of it? So that in itself can be very hard and very difficult. So that is why having that moment to navigate and having that peaceful platform to really do that is so vital and should never be taken for granted. But the saddest things as humans, we do. So that is another key discussion pointer that I wanted to point out. But as well as community-based healing and peer support groups. So peer support groups vary in terms of the kind of support groups, the topic that is discussed, but as well as community-based healing, because healing a community, and it could be cleaning up garbage, recycling, creating programs to help children during the summertime who may not be able to afford food, supporting women's, infants, and children's and resources to help support them with daycare or childcare, but ethically doing all of those activities and duties. But the most important thing is communities coming together to support communities. Farmers markets. If there's a free market, share food with others, making sure that no one in the room goes without. But also, this also reminds people that they're not alone, above all else. And lastly, that brings us to emotional support through connection and animals. So I always thought, and if you agree with me, please post that in the comments, or if you disagree, I'd like to know your thoughts anyway. I've always thought that for veterans, but I always thought that when it comes to veterans needing support animals or individuals who are suffering from mental health illness or phobias, if they need a support animal, I always thought that if more organizations, even more, if there are, I'm amen to that. But if they're not, I always thought that instead of breeding a dog from a breeder, why not train a dog who was at a humane society or at a pound to become service dogs? Because if more organizations do that, that will literally help to clear a lot of these homes. I mean, a lot of these humane societies and pounds of dogs and essentially all other species, but mainly dogs to become service trained because I it's heartbreaking to hear stories of dogs being euthanized because they were not adopted, or individuals who had to rehome their beloved animal because they couldn't afford to feed them and themselves. Um, Paying rent, water, utilities. It's hard. And it's hard when you're trying to navigate all of those moving parts and at the same time keep yourself fed. So I would say that if you are of means and you are able to spare your heart for more love, um, contacting the local Humane Society of the United States or humanesociety.org. This is not sponsored. This is just me sharing an example of how emotional support through connection and animals can really be supportive. Because I would say during COVID, we got our dog, our oldest dog, Samson. He's 6. He helped us so much, changed our perspectives on so many things, walking him and just doing different activities. You know, when he was a puppy, he hated the vet. He still does. He would pretend to sleep just so he wouldn't have to go. It was easy for me to pick him up, but I can't do that now. The last time he didn't want to get on the scale, and some other onlookers were like, "This is so hilarious," because he was whimpering. He didn't want to get on the scale, but they're losing weight because they were overweight, but they're losing weight because we also have a girl dog, Mika. Um, she's 5, he's 6, and we got her a year and 3 months after. Um, so it was beautiful, and they complement each other so well. And I've also noticed an even adjustment in how they handle themselves. So it's so beautiful to see them, transition, but it's also so beautiful to actually see them grow in their personalities in real time. And oftentimes you never really fully know a dog's imprint unless you see toys and they're not there. So it's a time that I know is going to happen because dogs have their metabolic clock is faster than ours. But I would say the beautiful thing about a dog's spirit is that they don't judge you. They don't look at you as if you are the most repulsive thing on the planet. Though there are some dogs that have some sass. I've seen some videos, but they love you unconditionally. So if you are able to, adopt, then contact your local humane society and see what kind of beautiful animals that they have. And that also brings us to our three reflection questions. Who are my safe people and my safe spaces? Your safe people could be your family, your friends, your therapist, counselor, your favorite show. Or your safe places could be your home, your workspace. It all depends if it's not toxic. If you have a safe workspace and it's not toxic, amen. I would say that I do. If I didn't, trust me, I wouldn't be there. Mm. And I would say I love a good cafe. I love a good library. I would say my home, I've made it my safe space, but I've also created boundaries because as individuals, we can forget and we can get complacent. So sometimes you do have to create boundaries and you do have to take that time for you and also remind others of what you need as well in return. So I would say that is a good reflection question. Who are my safe people and safe spaces? Write that down. I'll make sure that this is included in the description box as well. Second question is, what support do I currently need but haven't asked for? Some of us, it's taking that first step and going to therapy. And for some of us, it's telling that person in your life what you need from them and what they need to grow in and doing more consistently. Because it can be a lot. It can be a lot. You're trying your best and it's difficult. And I would honestly say the most important thing that I would say to this is use a lot of wisdom and what support that you need. And you make sure that you're protecting yourself at the same time. Because like I said, not all help is good help. You ask for something and then you get something else that you didn't ask for. And where do I feel most emotionally supported? That is important. But it's also important not to trauma bond to it because when you emotionally bond with it, you don't prepare yourself for how to navigate with that emotional connection. And oftentimes that can be a good thing and a bad thing, where you can connect on a way that is, um, you're able to really get the process and really see it for what it is, but then you can connect in a bad way where you can cope without it. So you want to use a lot of wisdom there, but also discovering what form of therapy or spiritual routines works well for you. For some of us, it's either doing devotions in the morning, afternoon, or evening. For some of us, it's either doing telehealth in the evening or at night or trying to figure out what that looks like. So I would honestly say all of this to say in being accountable but also in being aware of how our feelings resonate with us, because I can't tell you how important that is. So, that also leads me to our support mapping exercise. So, our support mapping exercise, I'll take out my little book of notes, and you can do the same. You can actually take your book, or if you have another book or another form of a material in some ways. Let me find a clear page that I wrote up. I wrote all up in this book for the most part. Yeah, I wrote all up in this book. At least I didn't miss the page. Let me see. I know I have another notepad. Oh, goody delicious. I do. Alrighty. So, with this much time for now, I hope that you were able to get a notepad or something to write with. So, we have our notepad. Okay. See? Our notepads. So, we're going to write support map exercise. Okay, so you have make sure you document it, and you're gonna draw 3 circles. One, two, three circles. If it doesn't look that pretty, girl, we're not Leonardo da Vinci. And so draw three circles. One is going to be for personal. Second, professional. Third, community. So we're going to do personal. I would say that'll be family, my pets, of course, my fur babies. Let's do fur babies. Classmates. My classmates has really helped and they've been my second source of support. And coworkers. Because when someone says that they're gonna pray for you and they do, you're making the list. Um, Professional. Mm, I would say employer because my supervisor has a lot of experience and they know what it's like to have and be in a social worker space and the stress of all of that in school. So I would say that my two program managers or supervisors that I've had at my organization that I work with has been supportive, top notch. So I'm gonna say managers. Um, I would say my school, my teachers have been helpful. Um, Other means of support, professional support, my YouTube, because that's been supportive of me as far as helping me to refocus and have a safe space to express every single thing that I've learned and grown and done. And I would say, of course, prayer. I mean, prayer also falls in personal too, but I pray for in my professional life too, because listen, the work that I do, it's not for the faint of heart. And I would say internship supervisor because my internship supervisor, even now, is still very supportive of me. And I want to make sure that I add that in there. So community, I would say, my my HU community has been supportive of me. I would say my work community has been supportive of me. I would say my MSW community has been very supportive of me because they've, especially when it comes to that element. Um, and I would say my content creator community has been very supportive of me as well. Okay. And what you're going to do now is you're going to fill in at least one name or resource in each circle, even if it's small. So I would say a resource that has been helpful to me personally is Psychology Today. Because when I was going through the process of doing my internship, I looked up a lot of people and I had to do a lot of digging. And it's also a good source for therapy and finding a therapist. So I would say Psychology Today is very good. Um, Professional, I would say learning more about mental health hotlines like 988 has been very informative because I've also tried to immerse myself in a lot of educational resources to help support me as a beginning clinician. Um, I that is my goal, is to immerse myself in a lot of resources that are offered and that are free. In community, I would say support groups has been helpful, and creating one too, because I did help facilitate creating one at my internship. And these are ideas that I do hope to resurrect even on my own channel. So more to come on that. And what I have here is my support circle. Oops, unfortunate. See, my support circle. So each of our circles looks different, and it measures based on where we are in our life, where we are in our journey, above all else, but also where we hope to be at the end of this road. And though for many of us it's uncertain and it feels as if it's like trying to find a winding road and trying to find the straightest one. But what I would say, what has helped me to navigate this terrain is finding that peace and having it and holding on to it, but also finding that option to press the brakes, but also allowing myself to do that, because I don't need permission to do it, but it's giving myself permission to do it. That's the hardest part. Oftentimes we don't. So I hope that that activity is helpful. And I hope that any recommendation shared is also resourceful, but take what resonates with you. Do not, that's the thing about resources, is it's an option. So if you feel as if what's been shared today does not resonate with you, you're not going to hurt my feelings at all. You're not. The most important thing is you feeling supported as you're making them, but also as you're trying to navigate through each and every single one of these resources that it's shared on Resource Friday. So please go ahead and make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you subscribe, share and like this video, and share with whomever you think would benefit from this. So that way we can continue to do more activities like this. You can't even see my map. There you go. More activities like this and much more, but also to get into more real discussions, real as well as this. This is real, but even more realer discussions at the same time. So please go ahead and take care of yourself. Like, share, and comment, and just know that support still exists. It does. It really does. It's hard out here, I know, but the most important thing that I want you to know is that you are loved. I appreciate you and I see you, and I'm proud of you for taking this step. If you're trying to better yourself, if you're trying to see what better options are out there for yourself, it is my hope and prayer that you are able to find what you need, and find what is going to fill in that space that you feel that's missing. And I hope that you take what resonates with you today from this video, and most importantly speaking, treat yourself kindly. It is not easy, but we are making strides every day as human beings. And I'm your host, Aiysha. And until next time, be kind with yourself, be kind to others, and treat yourself with kindness. 365, and it's Friday. We made it. Amen. And I'll see you next Friday, God willing. I'll see you all, but you take care and have a great weekend. Bye.